Just ahead of the PlayStation event, we have one last rumor. This one is about a PlayStation 5 Pro 8K gaming console. Let's go over this. Before I do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Thank you so much for watching. So real quick, this is from Moore's Law is Dead, and a lot of outlets are picking this up and running with the headline 8K PlayStation 5 Pro, etc., etc. Here's what Moore's Law said. He said, I am now 100% sure of the PS5 Pro coming out. I would say by the end of 2023, or he said by 2024. So a hypothetical PS6 in 2025, 2026. So right away, he goes into a bunch of ideas about what the PS5 Pro could be. And he says that Sony will want to make sure they stay competitive because of, whatever the competition is going to be doing. So a few issues with this. My main being that 2023 is 2 years away. We're at the end of 2021 right now. And, 2 years from now, we've already heard that the semiconductor shortage is going to last into 2023. So consoles will continue to be scarce for both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, whatever version that's going to be. I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so the idea that they're going to be launching a PlayStation 4 Pro in 2023 just seems ridiculous to me because of the semiconductor shortage, because they're focusing on 8K. 8K is such a small portion of the market. And the games right now running on the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, so few of them even do native 4K. So the idea that we're suddenly going to jump to 8K, a technology that it doubles what they're doing at 4K, basically in terms of pixel count, it's rather insane to me to think that we're even going there. And for that to be like a key point, it just doesn't seem realistic. The PlayStation 5 now on the box, it says it does 8K. So like we're already there. I don't know why that would be a key marketing point. So after this, a lot of the articles sort of went crazy with this as though he was speaking back. But after he made that statement, he largely didn't say much more concrete, factual about the console. Mostly it seemed like he was sort of guessing about what they could do. So he said he thinks there's going to be a PS5 Slim by the end of 2022. And the reason, and like Moore's Law, like he's just doing his thing, whatever. He says he has insider info. I'll believe him, but I'm going to be very skeptical, right? So PS5 Slim, end of 2022. I mean, like it's basing all of the guesses about the console market off of what happened last generation or maybe even the generation before that, with the slim versions of consoles and everything. It just seems like the old strategy. I don't think, given COVID, given the semiconductor shortage, given the fact that they can't even sell enough consoles right now, that we're suddenly going to start seeing all these different SKUs. Sure, like we have a few Xbox collector's editions and such, but I'm just so skeptical about this rumor. It just seems... I'm going to actually... I'll bet you right now, I will do 100 push-ups, and it's not going to be a pretty sight. I will do a video where I do 100 push-ups if there's a PS5 Pro by the end of 2023. How about that? Hold me to it. Let me know. I'll make the video on this channel. But me doing exercise, that's how doubtful I am of this rumor. So the idea of a PS5 Slim by 2022, I just don't see them doing multiple SKUs. Not right now. They're trying to sell as many PS5s as they possibly can. They want to outsell what the PlayStation 4 did. These consoles are also more powerful than the previous generation, and they're going to hold up for some time. The games are already looking gorgeous on both platforms. So he says, well, this is per the WCCF piece. The price will be $600 to $700, new AMD APU, new CPU, GPU, and they'll use AMD FSR to push 8K. Now, that is a technology that I could actually see. I just don't see them making the case for 8K gaming because I think marketing-wise, 8K to a lot of consumers just seems ridiculous and it seems out of reach, right? Like the percentage of people that you're speaking to would be so small, even 2 years from now. It just seems odd to me. So I think native 4K is what we should be shooting for. And even more importantly than that, more games doing higher frame rate has clearly been the demand from the consumer. So it just feels like it's missing the mark. So maybe it's this early. Maybe they work on their marketing. Maybe they don't focus on 8K. But yeah, I am incredibly skeptical about this news. He even pinned on his YouTube channel. He said, I want to pin a few points here for people that click into this video from an article. The video does not confirm a $700 8K PS5 Pro. It only outlines different design options and, if anything, doubts an expensive 8K console is worth building. Any $700 PS5 Pro would be 8K in the same way the PS4 Pro is 4K, usually not literally and almost always using something like enhanced checkerboarding or FSR. People are severely underestimating how much stronger desktop cards in 2023 will be compared to now. The RTX 3090 will be mid-range, at least by then. Let me talk about that point for a second. Now, he's very smart. Like, he knows what he's talking about in terms of the chips. He goes into details that, you know, I'm not fully versed in. I would have to do more reading up on them. But the idea that the 3090 will be mid-range by 2023, 2 years from now, I don't know about mid-range. Like, there might be another NVIDIA card in that time frame. But the idea that the 3090 is suddenly going to be usurped by something vastly stronger, that's so hard for me to believe. It's too short of a period of time. And right now, go try and buy a 3090 right now. Go try and buy a PS5 right now. Go try and buy anything. Series X, PS5, 3090, 3080 Ti. These things are either being bought up by scalpers everywhere or just impossible to find. I can't go out and buy a graphics card for anything right now, because you also got to consider like the cryptocurrency market where people are using them to farm and things like that. So again, that's another point where I'm just like, okay, yeah, they might have more powerful graphics cards, but I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced. Sony and Microsoft making a 6 nanometer consoles in 2022 and 5 nanometer consoles in 2023 will help supply. They are smaller nodes, more dies per wafer, and separate nodes, separate capacity. I unfortunately typed the wrong 7 nanometer die size for the PS5 at one point. It's 308 millimeters squared, I think is what he's writing. What I typed was a shot at a 6 nanometer PS5, but the point still stands. Sorry, so he's correcting himself there. So on that note, if it does help supply, that is the only part of the argument that I actually think makes sense. If the argument is that it's not a PlayStation 4 Pro, that's just what he's colloquially calling it, but it is instead some sort of strategy where they have a different die in there and are able to push a little bit more power to help supply. Like, if suddenly semiconductors are more readily available with this new design set, that is the only thing that makes sense to me. I don't even know if it would look different. I don't know if it would be a PS5 Slim or a PS5 Pro version of the console. I would imagine that it's the same console, but they change out the internal components so that they can produce more. We've already seen that with the heatsink thing that caused a lot of controversy earlier this month. So that's a little bit more, that's the only part that's really believable to me. Time will tell though, of course, right? So there's also going to be a new Xbox, a Series X, Series S refresh in 2022, according to him. A Series S refresh in 2022. The Series S is so readily available right now. Well, not super readily available, but they're much easier to get than any of the other consoles. So they're sort of that perfect mid-generational console right now. I could imagine them refreshing it, but that would be odd marketing. I think they probably have a ton of Series S's manufactured, and they're going to continue to sell those for some time right now. The idea that they're going to refresh it in 1 year, so it would be a 2-year-old console and it gets a refresh after 2 years, it just seems too early. I feel like because of everything that's going on, all timelines are going to be pushed out, and we're going to be playing on all consoles a little bit longer. Xbox Series S has a higher attach rate. That is true. They're more readily available, and more people subscribe to Game Pass with the Series S, according to what he says in the video, I believe. So, I mean, that's just accurate. It does have a high attach rate. Xbox Series S version 2, I called it, would be less than $350. Seems like a good price point. And this would be to compete with the PS5 Slim. I don't think PlayStation doesn't care. I don't think PlayStation is going to be worrying about other console SKUs in 2 years. I think they're going to be worried about PlayStation 5 sales. If anything, I would imagine that they do some sort of sale on a Black Friday where like even $10 off. If they have the inventory, they're going to make sure they sell as many PS5s as possible. So the idea that a Series S is going to be competing with a Slim, I mean, maybe this one's a little more believable to me, but only slightly, because it's the Series S. It's a less powerful console, and they could even just redesign basically the same thing with very subtle changes, which is what he outlined. But the PS5 Slim thing, that's the one that doesn't make a ton of sense for me. And he's guessing a 6 nanometer APU. So the Xbox Series X version 2 refresh, he didn't say very much about this at all. He says 2023, basically. I'll link to the original video in the comment section below so that you can, see for yourself and come to your own determinations. But my take on it is this, I find it so hard to believe right now that we're getting a new PlayStation 5 in 2022. You can't even get PlayStation 5 consoles. So that part of it is what I have a hard time believing, right? So let me know what you think in the comments below. It's a fun story regardless, but I'm taking it so with a grain of salt, and I find it so hard to believe right now in the conditions we're in. So let me know what you think. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, please, if you like these sort of videos, to know when I go live, trying to get to 100,000 subscribers this year. I think we'll get close. But we'll see. If you want to become a member, memberships are turned on. Thank you to everybody who has become a member. I'm going to get out of here. I'll catch you for the next one, everybody. Bye for now.